Hey everyone, rank 4 Ascension 2 spot. Probably one of the least ranked up or least wanted for most people from this pool of the Metamorphosis champions. Iron Man probably on par with him. I'd say that people wanted the other 4 champs a bit more than these two. But this champion is interesting. There is one piece of utility that he has that does seem to be becoming more and more, I don't know, like more and more usable as time goes on. When it initially came out, it didn't really have many uses, but I'm finding more and more champions for this one piece of utility that are really nice. Another thing to note about this is the first of the showcases that is going to be fully, entirely all with the champions that are minimum rank 5 and have all the masteries applied to them. You'll be able to see from the PIs and the health pools. But yeah, this is the first one with all of it applied. So he's got some pretty big shoes to fill, given that he's the first one with this. But anyway, let's get into it. We're going to start with 2 Sassies. Not the easiest matchup for him, but a matchup that lasts long enough for me to be able to explain what the hell's going on here. So, starting off with Spot, you are going to basically block, not take heavy attacks, I'm bad, and you are going to build up these portal charges. You can build up a maximum of 10 of these, and when you have 5 or more, you will be able to go invisible when the opponent tries to hit you. So you build them up as high as you can, preferably 10, but like here 9 is fine. And then you just want to start throwing light attacks into the opponent. Why light attacks specifically? Fastest amount of attacks you can get in one interval, simple as that. Then, towards the end of your little miss bit, you want to throw an SB1, in my opinion. Why an SB1? Well, 2 reasons. 1, it gives the buff immunity, which for some champs that we'll face a bit later, that buff immunity is incredibly powerful. But the second reason is it's a debuff. So one of the main things that was a problem with Spot was he just took too much damage into his block when you was trying to do this build-up, which can still be true. There are some champs where you take a significant amount of chip damage, but a combination of having block proficiency stat focus, a block proficiency relic, here I've got the Captain America one, and having the debuff on you, you can finish at high health pools. Like here, we finish at 94%, could have finished way higher. There's fights later on where we'll finish close to 100. So yeah, basically, you want to repeat that a few times, depending on the health pool. Sometimes you can just do 1 SB1, and then you're fine. Build up to your next set of miss charges, and then you basically want to throw an SB2. And the SB2 will deal bursts of damage based on how many ruptures you've applied to the opponent in the fight. You apply Rupture every time you hit them during the miss phase. Like you can see here, we just put a Rupture on every single time. You also apply a Taunt to try and make the opponent throw specials, which I don't really like the Taunt, I'll be honest. Like, it doesn't really add to him in any way, in my opinion. But, like, there's nothing actually wrong with it at the same time. But here we started against this bigger Sasquatch. This Sasquatch has 1 million health. And you can see with the buff immunity on us, we've healed back up to full health. So all of this chip damage we're taking here, having to get the spots, is basically nullified straight away, which is really, really nice. Now, this is one of the problems with Spot, though. And you can see here, like, yes, Sassy's in Wrath, so he's meant to be throwing heavies. But in general, the defender's AI massively affects this champion. Like, if the AI decides to be horrible, you're having a bad time. If the AI decides to be nice, you can get some really good fights with him. Like, this Sasquatch, 1 million health, he's nearly dead. I think the AI has played decently well in this fight, in my opinion. But there are some fights, like, or some situations where the opponent will just play really nastily. And you're just in trouble. There's not much you can do about it. You either have to get away from your corner or just keep trying to build up those spots. Here, I throw off an SB1 at the end to get a little bit of willpower healing, and you can see as this fight ends, we finish on 99% health. So yeah, it is easy to finish at high health with Spot. The block proficiency relic and stat focus has helped him a hell of a lot. And it is that buff immunity that was the utility I was talking about. This buff immunity is becoming way more powerful as time goes on in the game because of how Mystics are going with applying buffs to you or making you apply buffs to yourself. So anyway, on to the next fight. We're fighting this Destroyer, and you can see we got a bit backed up there, but we let him just throw that heavy into our miss. And now we're going to go for our SB1. Again, heals up to full. We've already done a good chunk of damage to this rank 5 Destroyer. I guess this is equivalent to a rank 4 A2 as well, if you run into one of those. And yeah, we're now going to build up the spots again. Simple as that. And then we're going to build up to our SB2. And we're just going to throw it off and just remove this guy from the game. Now, you might have noticed, when I'm blocking, my portal block, as it's called, is actually resetting sometimes. And this is kind of similar to if you was to reparry. If you take your finger off the screen for like half a second, like literally as fast as you can, it will technically reset your block. So it will reset Spot's portal block. Which is really nice if you end up backed up in the corner or far away from the opponent and you're waiting them to dash at you. It can be really nice. It's kind of like a trick you learn from reparrying. I wouldn't try it if you're not like comfortable with it because it can go badly wrong. But yeah, it is a nice little thing to be able to like reset the portal block. Alright, now against this Nico. Now this is a fight that the buff immunity goes hard for. So I'm gaining a load of buffs. This seems really bad against Nico. This seems like a horrible thing to be doing. Why am I letting her throw heavies? We are going to, first of all, bait out this SB1. And, well, we shouldn't have blocked that final hit. That was a bit stupid. Don't do that if you're playing Spot, but that was a little error. And now, we're going to throw off the SB1, get the buff immunity, and it doesn't give us the poisons. So yeah, basically, you can exploit Spot's buff immunity to get around Nico's buff immunity. And now, we're going to go for this in one cycle. We're just going to full nuke her. Nico's health pool is a bit lower than some other champions because it's around the adrenaline. And we are able to finish her off very quickly and at 97% health. Yeah, that's very strong. Another champ we're going to abuse this buff immunity against is Man-Thing. Usually, if you don't have a poison immune against this guy or a full buff immune, it's absolutely Jova. But we are just going to throw our SB1 at the correct time to make it so that he can't place any buffs on us, pretty much. Here we get up to 10 spots. Going to start attacking with our light attacks. You can use medium attacks here. I just massively prefer to use only light attacks because it's just more efficient. Here, we're going to throw off the SB1. It gets our buff immunity on, which is quite a long-lasting buff immunity. And now I want him to throw out SB2. And look, we get none of his, pus charges on us. I forgot what they're called. But those little yellow charges that he puts on us, we didn't get any because we was just fully buff immune. Now, this essentially makes Man-Thing an absolute noodle now because I'm just going to go up to my SB2 and just completely take him out. We're going to throw a couple more hits. Into the SB2 we go, and look at those burst damage numbers. He is dead with a hit to spur. 117k on every burst is pretty nuts. So yeah, really nice use of the buff immunity there. Next up, we are going to fight Enchantress. Now, this fight there's no real technical way that you counter Enchantress. It's just playing around her. I guess, because you want to be baiting out heavies, it's nice for the portal block. Here I reset the portal block like I was showing, and I'm in the corner with only one portal block charge, which isn't good. But we're getting some more on. Gotta dex that heavy, reset the portal block. She hits into me a few times. I get a couple more off. I'm gonna go for it very soon, don't worry. I then block that heavy, because funny. And now we're going to go for it. We're going to use the buff immunity. It's really funny that buff immunity is a debuff. That trips me up a lot in terms of actually speaking it. But yeah, we're going to use that. Use our invisibility for an intercept. Though she does manage to throw an SB1 off at us, that's fine, realistically. But what I'm going to do here, I was trying to get rid of this... the intercept orange rune on her, but at some point I just decided to go for it because she wasn't running into what I wanted her to. Like here, you can use the mist to get very easy openings for the intercept, but I got too backed up But it doesn't matter. We are just going to kill all the way through those 2 spells. Spot doesn't care. Pretty nice fight. Probably should have been a bit quicker if I wasn't delaying to try and get that off. But hey, pretty nice fight. Next up, we have got Havoc. And this fight is a little spooky, I'll be honest. Like, depending on the sig level of the Havoc and how many times you crit, you may take 1 burst here. In this fight, I end up at literally 10 plasma charges on me. Like, if he'd have got a single more plasma charge, I'd have lost like 25% of my health. But anyway, we start going for it here. I'm going to push him up to SB2, because obviously I want him to drain his own charges. Here we go. Use the full special into the... Sorry, use the full combo into the SB1. And we've got a decent amount of our rupture-like effects on us. The little like red number that's now at 29. And now we're going to build up just another set of spots. And in a second, we are going to just send it. I was trying to get his like plasma charges down as much as I could. It's now at 1, so we may as well just go for it. Bait out another heavy into the SB2, and I'm hoping I just don't crit on every single hit. I do not, and we are going to be able to take him down by just being passive a little bit. So yeah, that fight is very spooky, to be honest. Like, that's a bit more of a tried at your own risk matchup. This matchup, though, is very good against Onslaught. Now, you would think the Neuroshocks, they're going to stop me missing. It's going to be a really bad time. Well, that is true, but there's 2 things about that. One, he's not guaranteed to have Neuroshocks on you. And the second thing is you can just land normal intercepts and it still count towards your rupture charges. So here, now, we're going to start going for it. No Neuros on the first combo. Got a Neuro on the second one, but I dash back to get rid of it. Into the SB1 I go. Gonna just put a load more ruptures on him. We're at 22 ruptures now. Gonna bait out heavy. Get a couple more hits in before it expires. SB2, reverse controls. This, yeah, like if you're not comfortable with the SB2, you can just bait the SB1, but SB2 is a lot faster. And again, our buff immunity debuff is letting us heal some health, you know, from the Neuros. We're at 94% health currently, which isn't bad against an Onslaught. And we're going to go for a couple more hits into the SB2, and we are going to finish this fight on 92% health. That will range a little bit depending on how many Neuros he gives you, or if you block a hit of the SB1. But yeah, Spot can do Onslaught very well. Next fight, we are going to go for Thing. Now, this one seems a bit spooky, because obviously every 15 charges he's going to go unstoppable, but I mean, there's 2 ways you can play this. Either ignore the unstoppable for a little bit, if you've got a lot of your timer still left on your miss, or you can just send him to 15 and bait out a special, you know, just play Thing. Here, I'm trying to get the portal block back up. He does a lot of damage to me, to be honest, a bit more than I would like. That's one of the aspects I don't like, is just sometimes the opponent will do too much damage to you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. He goes for that SB1. I'm going to go for my own SB1, gets the buff immunity up, and you can see it's a nice amount of healing, obviously, with willpower. Only being 1 debuff means you're not going to be getting, like, badly affected by Despair. I'm now at 98%, so just got to get a couple more spots on. I'm going to go here and make him... I'm going to have him throw a special here in a second. This wasn't actually what I wanted him to throw. This is what I want him to throw. He's going to throw that. We're going to reply with our SB2, and he is going to go down. Spot 97% health. And yeah, that rank 5 Thing is down. Which, that is one thing to note about all these new showcases. We're going against rank 5s with collectives. Rank 4s are still quite common. So, if you run into a rank 4 with collectives, obviously, you're going to do these fights even faster than currently. You can, like, throw your SB2 a bit earlier, play a bit more aggressive at certain points with hits, etc. And also in content, you know, collectives doesn't exist. So you're not going to be running into, you know, these weirdly beefed up defenders with certain collective points. So yeah, this champ is pretty good. And fighting rank 5s, I think, is a good metric to show that he can punch evenly very well. You know, rank 4A2, I consider the same as a rank 5. But he also punches up well. We saw against that Sasquatch, 1,000,000 health, 1 minute 40 is not bad. Here, this Zola, a very, very tanky boy. And we are essentially just abusing the fact that we can throw heavies in that miss to keep getting his charges down. And also, if he throws a heavy into our miss, he's going to gain like 5 ruptures on himself, because that heavy has so many hits for no apparent reason. Like here, I'm going to go for it now. We're at 99% health. I'm going to throw off an SB2. And yeah, this Zola is going to get eliminated. Obviously, our hits are capped at 10% because it's Zola, but it was enough to kill him off. It would have done a lot more damage than that if that wasn't there. Now on to Solvark, and again, we had a couple of these in the whole Ascension catalogue where if you are a champion that does all physical damage, you are automatically decent against Solvark. Now this is a big Solvark again, like 140 KPI is no joke. These are like big, beefy, rank 5 champions in BGs now, or on like Alliance War nodes. So yeah, this is a pretty realistic showcase of the actual meta content. Again, like I said, if you're in just like Story Quest or some other content they bring out, you won't have to worry about nodes like Despair, Inequity, etc. So these champs will just feel even better in normal story content. Into an SB1 I go like usual. Buff immunity on, we're healing up to full, really nice. I want him to throw specials here. I wanted him to throw an SB2, but he threw an SB1. And here I'm going to show it, but you shouldn't do this. Don't really be blocking in the orange mode. Solvark does an extra burst to you, so it's not too fun. Put him back in the blue mode, and now I'd be blocking. Yeah, like the orange mode is no bueno. But here I'm about to go for it. I just want a couple more spots quickly, but he's being a bit stingy. In we go for it. We get that Fury because we countered him doing a heavy. You can also get it from countering opponents doing a special. If you need a bit of extra damage on your specials, I would look to get that Fury, but the reason I haven't talked about it most is because most matchups have not needed it. Very interesting champion. Not one of the most wanted. Not one of the most meta. But he does have an okay spread, and that buff immunity, the way it interacts with certain champions, certain modern champions, is quite nice, you know, being willpower healing and removing buffs on you against Mystics without being detrimental. So yeah, that is going to do it for this one. Spot's pretty decent, but just not that well loved, unfortunately. Thanks for watching, see you all next time.